Hey there, Start here. So I've already done my rank 1 clear of this boss. I'm going to try another one here. This one's a little bit of a flex clear, I'm not going to lie. This one's probably not a guide that most people are going to be able to follow. I just wanted to try this and see if it would work using just Lightning and Cloud as a DPS. This strategy does use the Avatars Plus upgraded chainmail, if you're wondering what that is. That's the Avatar's Celestite Chainmail. So that is an upgrade recipe you have to buy with Xenoshards from the cow shop. I don't recommend getting it just for this, especially if you're strapped on shards. If you already have the Ruler's Chainmail though, and you have a bunch of spare Xenoshards, I think it's another. So you have to buy it's 1,000 shards for the Avatar's chainmail, and then like 2,000 shards for the Avatar's Plus, and it needs to be the Plus, the upgraded version, because that's what gives you this ability. And you've probably seen this in other clears, where it does 150% full elemental buff across the board for all allies. This boss only does a 50% imperil to all elements, so this basically nullifies all of the boss's attacks, and that's how you've probably seen clears without tanks. And this is how they're able to get around it. Like I said, I don't recommend going out and upgrading it just for this. And if you don't have it, you're not going to be able to follow this guide, obviously. I will do one more rank 1 clear that's very similar to this one that does not use the Avatars Plus. It's sort of a combination of this clear and my previous one. It won't require a tank, and it won't require the Avatars Plus upgrade, and I will do that one after I do this one. But I wanted to do this one just because I was having a little bit of fun, just wanted to see what Lightning and Cloud could do. So obviously you see Lightning and Cloud are the only DPS units, everyone else is just there to support them, and we're going to try and hit that damage cap, so let's see if we can do it. All right. Turn 1, Wilk's just going to go ahead and unlock his break. All right, Sakura is going to do her Brave Shifted LB for the attack buff. Lightning will do her Spark Strike for the breaks, Rusty Engine for mitigations, and the Whole World is Against Us for the mod boost to her LB. All right, Ilmatel will do 10,000 Needles for the Mirage. Cloud will do the Avatar's Tenet. Go ahead and cast that. Dagger is going to start singing just like she always does. Alright, so we'll see her again on turn 4 to summon Rama for the field. Alright, so you can see party fully resistant to all the magic damage. Dagger, single target, provokes all the single target magic stuff, and she's got a very high spirit, so deals very little damage. All right, this turn is very simple. Just guard, 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 guard. Okay, and then Sakura is going to use True Thunderstone to imbue. All right, and that is for Wilk and for Ilmatel, because Ilmatel is going to use Ayaka's Vision card to chain with Sakura on the burst turn. Not to deal damage, really, just, build up the chain, hit the chain, score. All right, so now it's our prep turn. Okay, so we are going to do Impulse Strike for the Imperil, because it's the only Lightning Imperil we're going to have. It's 130, though, so that's good enough. And then Elemental Burst Lightning and How I Live is up to me for the Weapon Imperils. Wilk will go ahead and do his 90% break. Sakura is going to summon Rama for the Imperil field. Okay, she is fully crowned, by the way, so that's a 50% Imperil. So we're going to have a 180% total Lightning Imperil, as you can see up there. Ilmatel is going to give Machine Killers of course, to Lightning and to Cloud. We only have 2 DPS units, so they're the only ones that need it. All right, Cloud is going to shift. Now, Cloud is wielding a sword. I gave him another copy of Lightning's STMR, all right, because we don't have room for a Lightning or sorry, we don't have room for a great sword in peril in here. So I gave him a sword, 2-handed sword, so he's going to use that. So yeah, elemental burst, elemental lightning, and nothing personal for all the mod boosts. Okay. Alright, so there you go, Determined Dagger. Again, provoking all the single target stuff. It's not dealing nearly enough damage to mess with your damage score, so you don't have to worry about that. Alright, so ready for the burst turn. Make sure Dagger summons Rummo for the field first. So now we have our Imperil field and our Amp field. Good to go. Alright, make sure you shift Lightning. Okay, LB. Wilk is going to come back to normal so that you can triple bolting strike. Ilmatel does the whipped cream attack. Sakura has Erinya's ring so that she can quad cast Thundara. Alright, Cloud obviously does his LB. So as we know, Cloud has a wind up, so I'll start him and wait a second, and then I'll send the chainers, and hopefully we'll hit that 24.5 billion or higher. Let's see how we do. Should have 126 hits in the chain. All right, we're hoping for 24.5 or higher. Let's see how we do. How do we do? Yes, 24.8. Yeah, just over the line, just over the line. Love it. Beautiful. All right. All right, let's see how the damage shakes out. Okay, there you go. Perfect score, rank 1. How'd we do? Nice, nice. Wow, Cloud almost hitting the damage cap there. Look at that. Way to go, Cloud. Yeah, Lightning obviously doing very, very well. That's actually not the highest she's ever hit for me. She's hit with this team. I've done... I will say this team did require a few re-rolls, like 5 or 6 re-rolls. And the highest I've seen her hit is 17.5 with this team and this gear. So we could have gone even higher on this one, but that is the highest I've seen Cloud hit. 9.4 is impressive. He's usually hitting like, you know, just under 9, usually like 8.5. Like 8.5, 8.6 is more typical. So that was a nice high roll, which is good because Lightning actually rolled a bit average on that one. But yeah, there you go. 2 DPS units gets you the damage cap on this one. Like I said, this is a bit of a flex clear. I'm not expecting everybody to be able to pull this off. But I did have some people asking like, oh, I don't have Nora, who can I replace her with? Well, you can replace her with Sage of Thunder Sakura for that Imperil field. And that works just as well. And then if you don't want to bring a tank, you know, you do have Ilmatel there who can fit in there. Okay. So yeah, I'll show you the gear real quick. The gear, if you saw my previous video, the gear is not too different with the exception of obviously the avatar's chainmail. That's a big difference, right? And that's kind of a requirement for this specific clear strategy. But other than that, the gear's fairly similar. Again, we don't care about Lightning in her normal form. You can ignore that. In her Brave Shift form, just all the best gear, right? All my best Clash gear to get her attack stat as high as possible. High attack gear. All right, Esper stats. Just make sure she's capped on her TDH and her killers and her LB damage. That's what Mysteries of Aldor is there for. That's from the Cosplay Reign, the Final Fantasy I Cosplay Reign. And then, you know, this is obviously from A2, the Neo Vision, but honestly, you don't really need that. That's massive overkill. And then this vision card is from getting EX3 Elena, the new Elena. Okay, so she is, yeah, capped on everything. Good to go. All right. Ilmatel, yeah, you can kind of ignore. I put Obsidian Bracer on there, but that is important just so that because the only turn that we're breaking the boss's attack and mag is on turn 1. So on turn 3, you might have noticed that Dagger took a little bit more damage from the single target magic attack, and that's because we didn't have an opportunity to break the boss again on that turn. So Obsidian Bracer just makes sure that the boss still has an 80% attack and mag break. All right, so that's pretty important. Otherwise, her gear is pretty irrelevant. Some Bahamut synergies is really good. You do want to put some Bahamut synergies on your party. I think you need at least 4 Bahamut synergies sort of spread throughout the party to make sure that you have enough, because since we're summoning Rama on turn 3 and then we need to summon it again on turn 4 with Dagger, you got to make sure that you have enough Esper's Fill to fill up that gauge again on turn 4. All right. And then 10,000 Needles, Diablo Synergy is just there to make sure that she has high enough Dark Resist. Yeah, and then obviously Ayaka's Vision card. That's that way she can chain or quad bolting strike with Sakura. Dagger, it just gave her like bunch of high spirit gear. That's all she needs. You just want to bulk up her spirit as much as possible so that those single target magic attacks don't deal too much damage to her. Otherwise, I wanted to go with you. Had to give her Call of the Wild, obviously, since mine's only EX1, so you need at least that 8 LB fill, because it costs 8 LB fill to cast this. All right, so just make sure that you have Call of the Wild in order to use this. So the additional cost you see there is 8 LB fill. So Call of the Wild takes care of that. Perfect Provocation is there to make her passive provoke. All right, and yeah, that's all she needs. She could be an EX0, doesn't have to be EX1. That's all you really need. Okay. Just make sure that you have Rama somewhere in the party, which you're going to have anyways, because you have to put Rama on the party for Sakura anyways, but you have to summon Rama to get the 50% lightning amp field. Okay. Wilk, just make sure you have his STMR in his Brave Shift form so you can get access to the ability that unlocks his 90% break. That's all you really need. I gave him some Bahamut synergies you see here. The rest of his gear is irrelevant. I did kind of try to gear him for damage, but as you can see, his damage was irrelevant. Sakura just has Erinya's ring, and then since she has Rama Esper, she has access to Thundara. There it is, yep. Okay. That way she can quad cast the Thundara to quad bolting strike. She's got a Bahamut synergy as well. In her Brave Shift form, just 1 Bahamut synergy, but otherwise, yeah, doesn't really need anything. She starts in her Brave Shift form, which only lasts for 3 turns, so then she comes back to her normal form on turn 4 for the burst. Cloud in his normal form is pretty irrelevant. Just make sure he's got the avatar's chainmail so that you can use that ability. Otherwise, you know, his gear is irrelevant. In his Brave Shift form, as you can see, I did give him my other copy of Lightning's STMR. Okay, Avatar's chainmail in this form as well, double crescent moon charms, and then just filling out, make sure you give him chain cap boost. All right, because since we have the double crescent moon charms, you need chain cap boost in his materia. You could put Magister's ring in here, but then it's actually slightly lower. Gives him a slightly lower attack stat. Might not make that big of a difference, but you know, if you're trying to just squeak it across the line, you definitely want to squeeze every last bit of attack out of there. All right, and then yeah, Promise Among Comrades is there mostly for the Esper stats, but also since he's not wielding a greatsword, he loses a lot of his passive attack. So like he's just barely capped on attack, and I actually had to run my Lightning STMR through Item World to get him to cap attack because he loses a lot of passives when he's not wielding a greatsword. And then obviously his own Vision card because he's EX3, but if yours isn't EX3, just whatever Vision card you have in there. I will say if your Cloud is not EX3, he might not be able to get you across the line, but you know, obviously you could still throw Nora in place of Sakura and you'll get extra damage, right? So you can kind of, you know, tweak this a little bit. If you have Nora, great, put her in Sakura's place, you're going to do even more damage. right? So that's an option right there to improve your damage. All right, so yeah, hopefully this was helpful to you guys. I will do one more rank 1 clear that does not use the avatar's vest, but still gets away without a tank, and I'll show you how to get that one done shortly. So thank you so much for following me, and I'll see you on the other side.